What if I told you sister-wives drama just took a huge turn? A turn so incendiary, it could blow Cody and Robin's hard-won empire sky high. Janelle and Mary are no longer just mad. They're taking action with proof that could put Cody in front of a judge. And this time, there is no denying the truth. Hi guys, welcome back to TLC Vibes, your home for all the shocking sister wives news. Don't forget to like this video. It really makes a difference. The proof was overwhelming, diligent, unrelenting, and downright damning. Having absolutely no idea what was about to go down, Robin burst into the living room where Cody sat drinking his morning coffee. She slammed a thick envelope onto the table. "You have to see this," she insisted. As Cody paged through the papers, his tanned face blanched to a ghostly white. His eyes flashed upward, brimming with annoyance. But for once, he was unable to find words. Janelle and Mary, meanwhile, weren't merely hurt now. They were angry. Court dates were pending as they worked overtime behind the scenes with land title specialists, forensic accountants, and lawyers. What they discovered was appalling. Janelle had cashed out part of her 401k to help pay for family land. Yet her name was nowhere on the ownership records. Worse, internal financial documents revealed that Mary's years of contributions and equity in family businesses had mysteriously vanished. After Christine's exit, Robin's name was suddenly added to multiple land titles, while Janelle and Mary's names were quietly erased. The evidence suggested Cody had secretly filed paperwork to reassign shared property, all while publicly claiming the women had chosen to walk away. But here's the kicker. Janelle and Mary never signed a thing. No one even asked them. They were simply wiped out. Flash forward to the courtroom. Tension clung thickly in the air as reporters whispered outside in hushed tones. TLC had disassociated itself from the legal intrigue, but all motions were made public. Witnesses could be subpoenaed at any moment. Cody arrived first. His jaw was clenched hard, his trademark curls slicked back. Cody's arrival was nearly dramatic. Jaw clenched, signature curls slicked back, and a charcoal suit that hung awkwardly for the circumstances. Robin trailed a few steps behind, her eyes bloodshot, complexion pale, and demeanor exuding quiet desperation. She ducked the cameras, drawing further into the background. Moments later, Janelle and Mary appeared together, a united front. Mary's steely gray pantsuit mirrored her calm but unmistakably fierce expression. Beside her, Janelle glided forward in a vivid emerald blouse and black slacks, exuding an electrifying composure. These women weren't here to perform. They were here to reclaim what was rightfully theirs. The sharp crack of the gavel silenced the murmurs. Court is now in session. Brown versus Brown. Civil case number 2025-CV4561. The air grew heavier as opening arguments commenced. Janelle's lawyer addressed the court first, his words slicing through the courtroom with surgical precision. He presented a damning argument, years of documented joint investments, words turned into forever on TLC's cameras, and incriminating evidence revealing how, beginning in 2020, Cody systematically cut Janelle and Mary out of property transactions. "This is not a case about religious unions," the lawyer announced. "This is about two women, business partners, and legal partners who were manipulated and stripped of their rights in the false veil of family harmony." Cody's defense struck back, contending the family's arrangement was unique and fluid, asserting the women freely chose to opt out and that there were no written agreements. And then Janelle stood up. Her tone was calm, but her words were filled with pent-up pain. "I didn't walk away from anything," she replied icily. "While Cody and Robin bought a house I couldn't even afford, I lived in an RV on that property. Property I had a hand in paying for. I saved the receipts, I saved the records, and I'm finished keeping quiet." Mary then followed with her signature mix of calm determination and biting honesty. "I waited," she started. "I waited for fairness, for recognition, for my years of work to count. But all I received was silence. Now, I'm here to tell my truth." Mary's tone strengthened, unshakable as she asserted, "I waited for justice, for truth, for love. But instead, I was erased, used. Now I'm here to take back everything I helped build." On day 2, the tension in the courtroom shifted with Robin on the stand. Holding a tissue, she appeared smaller than normal, nervous and vulnerable. "I didn't know the land titles had changed," she said quietly, her voice cracking. "Cody told me no one else wanted the property." But then Janelle's attorney threw her a bombshell, a deed of property transfer, signed by Robin 2 years before, naming only her and Cody as co-owners. "You signed this document," her attorney pushed. "You consented to sole ownership of the land these women partially paid for. Did you get misled?" Robin's silence spoke volumes. Her eyes nervously flashed toward Cody, who wouldn't meet her eye, looking at the floor. "Did you know that signing this canceled the other wives' claims?" the lawyer questioned. I figured they waived their rights," she babbled. And then came day 3, the fireworks. Evidence was revealed of private emails between Cody and his accountant, in which Mary and Janelle were referred to as non-participants, and the land as Cody and Robin's retirement dream. A stunning video clip from a Sister Wives show exposed Cody informing Janelle that she had no say if she objected to Robin's home plans. The courtroom went silent as the judge got ready to give the verdict. The decision was quick and decisive. The court ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, supported by overwhelming evidence, witness testimony, and evidence of monetary contributions. The judge decreed restoration of joint possession of the property, in addition to a $1.32 million restitution package, interest, court expenses, and lost investments by Mr. Brown to Mrs. Brown and Mrs. Brown. Cody slumped, silent, as if in shock. Robin cried softly into her sleeve. Reporters swarmed outside the courthouse as Janelle and Mary stood flanked together. "This was never about revenge," Mary stated firmly. "It's about truth, about reclaiming what was taken from us. For years, we were treated like shadows, unseen and unheard." Janelle nodded, her voice thick with feeling. "Today, they tried to erase us, but we were here, and we were injured. But this isn't the end. It's just the beginning." And with that, the two walked away from the destruction and boldly into an unsure but promising future. Already rumors circulate that they intend to build out their newly recovered tract of Coyote Pass. This time without Cody. A new dawn has opened, one on their own terms. The news erupted just hours after the ruling. Janelle and Mary had won their case, taking a $1.3 million settlement from Cody Brown. Cody vanished from sight over the next few days. He closed the curtains on the house that he now technically shared with Robin, keeping the cameras at bay. The man who had once ruled 4 wives, sired 18 children, and presided over a vast family kingdom was a shadow of his former self. He strode around the kitchen, phone in his hand, scanning texts from lawyers, producers, even his own offspring, many of whom were angry, confused, and disillusioned. His universe was breaking apart. Whispering to Robin in a shaking voice, he said, "I built this family. Without me, they're nothing." Robin sat, silently at the kitchen table, white and distant, her fingers wrapped tightly around a cup of undrunk tea. "It's not them anymore," she finally spoke, the words barely audible. "Everyone is experiencing the backlash." The formerly dominant Robin was now disintegrating, tormented by the courtroom loss that had come with it, and the uncertain future that lay in store for them both. Robin lay awake. Night after night, she relived the day that the lawyer presented the evidence, the deed with her signature, the irrefutable smoking gun. Whether or not she had planned it, she was now the public face of the Brown family's disintegration. Her kids also bore the brunt of the turmoil. Neighbors were gossiping, and social media labeled their mother the scammer wife. Aurora had a panic attack, and Brianna would not attend school. Dayton shut down completely, staying away for 2 days. In the hallway, Robin fell to the floor, defeated by guilt and tears. She cried to Cody, "This isn't what I wanted. All I wanted was a working family." Deep within, she knew she was no longer the beloved last wife. Rather, she was the face of betrayal, and everybody could see it. Meanwhile, in her serene kitchen in Utah, bathed in love, laughter, and a husband who provided her with security, Christine observed it all. She was baking cookies with Truly and her fiancé David when the news came out. Her phone rang nonstop with calls from past producers and supporters. A triumphant smile spread across her face as she exclaimed simply, "Told you." Then she was quiet, staring out the window. "They did it at last," she whispered to David. "They finally stood up to him." Later that night, Christine phoned Mary. Theirs was a short but telling call. "You have my admiration," Christine said warmly. Mary's voice shook with emotion. "It was never about hurting him. It was about healing us." When adults clash, children are bound to take sides. The youngest members of Janelle's and Christine's family started making their initial public declarations, entering the limelight with stories to share. The first ones to publicly express support were Gabriel, Gwendolyn, Madison, Logan, and Hunter. Die-hard supporters of Janelle and Christine who openly rallied behind them now. Gabriel posted a striking photo of the Coyote Pass sign with the caption, "Some things I never took for granted." On the other hand, the perpetually fiery Gwendolyn uploaded on Instagram stories, "I'm proud of my mom after years of watching my dad treat them like dirt." Within Robin's house, the atmosphere, however, was tense and poisonous. Aurora, Dayton, and Brianna had no words to say outside, but within doors, Robin and Aurora frequently fought. Disputes over privacy, media intrusion, and leaked court papers were commonplace. Dayton, normally unruffled, approached Cody straight one day. "Did you really think they wouldn't fight back?" he challenged. Cody's silence told 1,000 words. For the first time in years, his own reputation was in shambles, and even his children were no longer standing by him. Behind the scenes, TLC executives were in a state of panic in emergency sessions. The court fight was not just humiliating for their star, but it revealed unsettling realities about power disparities, financial abuse, and property mismanagement that broke major contract provisions. Producers traveled to Flagstaff to encounter Cody and Robin, filming in secret the gradual disintegration of their previously dominant family fortune. But TLC arrived with a threat at a private sit-down, one that left Robin sobbing and Cody angry but unable to act. While that was happening, producers approached Janelle and Mary in Utah with an offer. "Would you consider a spinoff on rebuilding and healing?" The women did not take long to deliberate, but Mary did reply finally with a sly smile. Coyote Pass restored. Weeks afterwards, in the blistering heat of Arizona, Janelle stood firmly on reddish soil she had considered never walking on again. Her boots ground into the ground of Coyote Pass, land which now legally belonged to her. Alongside her, Mary grasped a manila envelope containing the newest land deed. Irrefutable evidence of their triumph. They had prevailed. With subdued grins, Janelle swung toward her longtime co-survivor, sister wife, and friend. "Do you think we can make this into a miniature home sanctuary?" she inquired. Mary smiled gently. "Perhaps a medical retreat for women who have lost themselves, as we did." No bitterness existed for the first time in years, only transparency and tranquility. As the late morning sun drenched the hills of the desert in golden light, Coyote Pass shone with something greater than sunlight. It shone with freedom. Where there had been shattered promises and broken trust, stakes were now hammered deep into the earth, defining the corners of their rightful home. It was theirs, in law, in ink, and now in spirit. Janelle cradled a rolled blueprint, pacing the periphery with determination. She instructed her small crew, "It may be humble, but it will be mine." Mary trailed behind, dust flying from her boots, already imagining big windows to frame the desert landscape, drought-resistant gardens, and a warm fire pit where grandchildren might one day roast marshmallows. The wives were no longer holding out for recognition or validation. They were creators, designers, owners. And what about Cody? He wasn't even permitted on the property. His withdrawal into solitude was total. The man who had demanded 4 wives now found himself locked out of what was rightfully theirs. Within the now empty home he used to share with Robin and her kids, Cody's world was breaking. He'd lost property and money, of course, but he'd lost the meticulously groomed persona of himself as the family head, the spiritual leader, the man everyone relied on. His phone sat still on the kitchen counter. His children weren't picking up, or perhaps they'd already blocked his number. For season 20, TLC got the message. Cody's personal contract was not renewed. He was no longer the center of the show. Unstable and furious, he paced the corridors, yelling accusations of betrayal. One evening, he snarled at Robin, "I gave them everything, and they stabbed me in the back." But Robin remained silent. Sick of being the object of his wrath, she sat staring, expressionless. Later in the week, Cody didn't see Robin packing up. Her leaving was undercover. No cameras, no public statements. Early on a Friday morning, while Cody slept, she quietly loaded the family van. Aurora, Brianna, and Dayton stood watching from close by, unsmiling but rigid. They weren't going for good yet. They just needed some space. A break from the toxin. A break for a man who could only perceive himself. Robin wrote a note on the kitchen counter. "This is not desertion. This is survival. I can no longer be your excuse. You need help." Upon waking, Cody found the house wonderfully still. Meanwhile, TLC executives at network headquarters greenlit a new direction. The future of Sister Wives was no longer about Cody. It now belonged to the tales of Mary, Janelle, and even Christine, once relegated to the shadows, but now claiming control of their own stories. As Cody's reputation and court struggles disappeared into the rearview mirror, a new era was emerging from the ashes of polygamy, one that fans were already referring to as a phoenix moment. The working title? The Reclaimed Sister Wives. The pilot would trace Janelle pioneering on her small house, Mary establishing her retreat within Coyote Pass, and Christine providing advice from her safe house in Utah, a refuge for those closing troubled relationships. Cody was accorded a few interviews, but, resentful and left out, he declined. Meanwhile, the women prospered. One dismal afternoon, Mary drank iced tea outside her temporary trailer on Coyote Pass when she heard someone approaching behind her. Janelle came with a cooler. "Figured we'd have a late supper here," she said. Mary nodded. As the sun set behind the mesa, the old battlefield glowed with a warm orange light, the sand radiating like embers. Janelle breathed, "I never thought we'd make it here." Mary smiled gently. "Neither did I. Not like this." They exchanged a soft laugh, acknowledging just how far they'd traveled. Isolated for so long by a system they'd been born into, and manipulated by the same man, now they were building not only their homes, but their lives and trusts, brick by brick. A month later, Christine's red SUV rattled up beside Mary's retreat site. Janelle flashed away from her trailer as Christine emerged. It was their first face-to-face encounter since the trial. No cameras, no producers, only 3 women who refused to be reduced to loss, having loved and lost the same man. They commiserated in a moment of quiet solidarity. They dreamed of futures that night, roasting marshmallows and laughing by the fire pit long after dark. Christine beamed with pride, showing photos of her wedding preparations. Janelle revealed her house designs. Mary whispered about making her retreat a sanctuary for women recovering from religious trauma, a place to write, think, and rebuild. Referring to her friends, Christine said, "We never could have had this when he was in charge, right?" Mary gazed into the flames and nodded. "He didn't simply cut us off from him. He kept us separated from one another." Janelle nodded firmly. "Not anymore." Months went by, and Coyote Pass changed. Fences went up. Modular houses were put in place. Solar panels shone in the sunlight. At the end of the dirt road, Hunter, Janelle's son, painted a wooden sign that said, "Here, women rise." After a decade of watching from the sidelines, fans finally witnessed something unexpected. Not just closure, but renewal. Meanwhile, Cody rarely ventured out. Eventually, TLC removed him from upcoming seasons. Once the family's patriarch, he became a relic, not a hero, but a warning. In a poetic twist, the new spinoff shattered records, becoming TLC's most watched digital premiere in 5 years. The Sister Wives reclaimed. Across Coyote Pass, the sun emerged peacefully one morning. Mary stood in the dust, naked feet, coffee mug, as the golden light washed over her house. Janelle waved from her porch as she descended the hill. Christine had just come for the weekend, her car stopping alongside the retreat. They were no longer wives. They were no longer rivals. They were sisters, survivors, makers of their own fate. And Cody? Nowhere to be found. As the desert turned orange, illuminating the ground where they had once been denied, 3 women and their independence, won through struggle, stunningly earned. The official opening brought hundreds of women, survivors, seekers, and supporters under the big Arizona sky. The fragrance of fresh sage hung in the air as Janelle and Mary stood tall, poised to write the next page of their story. The long-awaited refuge for women fleeing religious, emotional, and financial domination, the Ember Ridge retreat, had finally opened. Holding hands in the new community building, Janelle and Mary stood together, an emblem of strength and renewal. Mary's words shook a little as she began her welcome. "This land was a battlefield," she stated, "but today it is a sanctuary." Janelle chimed in, "For years, we were silenced in the name of spiritual obedience. This place is for those who want to reclaim their voice." Applause resonated through the canyon, a thunderous hymn of hope. The walls of the main hall were covered with framed letters from past Sister Wives viewers. Tales of courage born from Janelle and Mary's courage, letters from women who found strength enough to leave abusive situations. An inscription boldly stated, "You didn't leave a man. You left a mindset that enslaved generations." In Flagstaff, Robin Brown's world was collapsing. Sisters Without Silence, a national women's rights organization, began a campaign to expose how reality television reinforces patriarchal abuse. What was once Cody's favorite, Robin's face plummeted. Her courtroom demeanor was picked apart in hundreds of Reddit forums. Side-by-side TikTok videos comparing her doctored tears to off-camera assertiveness went viral, totaling more than 12 million views under the Weaponization of Tears Robin Brown edition caption. Then, the IRS leak. Throughout the restructuring of the properties, Robin had signed on to a number of dubious financial instruments, ones that could have purposely covered up actual ownership. Further fueling the scandal, public records disclosed by an upset former accountant brought forth new fraud allegations against Robin Brown. A new lawyer came to her door with a stern admonition. "Miss Brown, you are required to cooperate fully with the investigation. Otherwise, a subpoena will be drawn up." Alone on her front porch, Robin sobbed. No cameras, no Cody to protect her this time. Worse, her oldest son, Dayton, slipped away, leaving her alone. But the drama wasn't finished. Cody Brown was pulled back into the courtroom limelight as the IRS delved further into the matter. Years earlier than Mary and Janelle's court win, Cody was accused of mislabeling joint funds as his own, concealing money, and dodging debts due to the women. There was a new hearing in store. Cody appeared alone. No wife, no kids, no TLC production team. Only a public defender and an aching bank account. When the charges were read aloud and a decade-long financial audit was ordered, Cody finally lost his composure. "I never meant to hurt them," he pleaded. "All I wanted was order. I craved order." The judge remained unmoved. "You desired authority, and that time is over." As the courtroom drama unfolded, 2 unexpected voices emerged, the daughters of Mary and Christine. At Ember Ridge's second seminar, Mariah, Leon, and Aspen spoke out, dismantling the myth of the righteous patriarch. Leon spoke from the heart, trying to be good enough for a father who only cared about control. "It breaks you. Trying to be good enough for a father who equated obedience with love consumed much of my life. I'm done entertaining men like him," Leon declared, her voice steady with conviction. Tears glistened in Aspen's eyes as she trailed behind. "Finally, I see my mother thriving after years of silently struggling. If she can rebuild, we can rebuild too." Mary and Christine never thought their daughters would spearhead this new era of healing, but there they were, braver and prepared to redefine their family's history. Compared to other reunion specials in the past, the fallout of Sister Wives Season 19 was the most turbulent so far. A 4-part tell-all that promised fans closure left viewers with more questions than answers. Cody and Robin Brown, and former Sister Wives Mary, Christine, and Janelle, each had candid interviews with host Sukanya Suki Krishnan individually. Leading up to the tell-all, TLC dropped behind-the-scenes clips of Robin. Pressed about how she felt about the in-person interview, Robin wasn't shy. "I'd rather have a root canal," she said flatly. This bluntness didn't win her any fans. Tell-all specials are supposed to be about accountability and owning one's actions, but it was clear Robin and Cody had little interest in either. Host Krishnan called out Robin's refusal to watch and reflect on show clips, a point that was repeatedly highlighted throughout the special. In one emotional moment, Janelle freely expressed herself. Janelle criticized Cody's blatant favoritism towards Robin at a number of critical times during the season. The vignettes revealed Robin's complete lack of remorse for her role in the family's downfall. When Robin was questioned by Krishnan regarding Janelle accusing her of being Cody's sacred cow, Robin shrugged and matter-of-factly stated she didn't care what her ex-sister wives thought. Playing the victim card once more, Robin brushed the video aside as disturbing before cutting the interview off abruptly. Cody's reactions were even more explosive. The family matriarch made the tell-all uncomfortable to watch at times, deflecting blame, getting defensive, and yelling at Krishnan regularly. His demeanor became even worse after the host started asking tough questions. And that's not saying much. Cody confessed on camera that he didn't love all of his wives equally and wanted to improve each marriage. But rather than examining his behavior, he got angry when Krishnan pushed him on this contradiction. His childish resolution of conflict was a central part in dismantling his multiple families. Longtime viewers knew Cody struggled to face the consequences of his behavior. But during the tell-all, he escalated his hostility, treating Krishnan like his fiercest enemy. He snapped at her, insisting he didn't want to feel guilty for favoring Robin, even when she challenged him on his ex-wife's accusations. In his own words, Cody's inability to take accountability revealed why everything eventually fell apart. In Cody's own words, "My relationship with Robin has a divine element, and we've been unfairly targeted for it." He accused the other wives of jealousy, claiming Robin's ability to secure deals was the real reason behind the tension, calling all his wives salesmen. But Cody's tendency to close down meaningful conversations before they've even started reveals his unwillingness to accept fault for the failures of his marriages and his difficult relationships with his children. When compared to Mary, Janelle, and Christine's open and honest demeanor during the tell-all, Cody and Robin obviously appeared to be keeping something from us. Although they attempted to sanitize their image on the show, they were clearly agitated by Krishnan's aggressive questioning. Their expressions of wanting to put the drama behind them rang hollow, considering everything that was unearthed. What are your thoughts? Leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to TLC Vibes for more news like this. Thanks for watching, folks!